ほら、ルフィ、今一緒に海賊になる仲間を探してるんだ。
Hello guys, welcome to my channel The Wandering Zoro, your go-to destination for anime-related content. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest videos. In today's video, we're going to be diving into part 3 of the series, What If Quirkless Deku Became Genius Scientist? So be sure to stick around until the end, and let's get started. The final event of the UA Sports Festival, individual one-on-one battles. The tension in the stadium was palpable as the 16 remaining students were displayed on the giant screen, their names matched in a tournament bracket. The crowd buzzed with anticipation, eager to see the culmination of the students' hard work and burgeoning abilities. Izuku's first opponent was none other than Katsuki Bakugo. The explosive blonde's face, still bearing a slight redness from his repeated groin-related mishaps, was a mask of barely contained fury. Their rivalry, though largely one-sided in Bakugo's mind, had been simmering since the entrance exams. This was their first direct confrontation. Shinso's first match was against Hatsum Mei from the support course, a potentially unpredictable opponent, given Mei's penchant for experimental and often explosive babies. As Izuku's name was called for the first match, a hush fell over the stadium. From the tunnel leading to the arena, a hulking, metallic figure emerged. It was the XS-1 Goliath, Izuku's fully assembled combat exoskeleton. Towering over the other students, the armor was a marvel of salvage technology and applied science. Its reinforced plating gleamed under the stadium lights, and the multi-barreled chain gun mounted on its articulated arm looked undeniably formidable. The crowd gasped, a wave of awe and apprehension rippling through the stands. Even Midnight's usual confident demeanor faltered slightly, a hint of surprise on her face. "Whoa, what is that?" Present Mike yelled into the microphone, his voice filled with genuine astonishment. "Midoriya's bringing out the big guns, folks. Talk about support gear. This kid is playing a whole different ballgame." Bakugo stood in the arena, his eyes wide with disbelief, then narrowing into a furious scowl. "What the hell is that contraption, Deku? You think you can beat me with some pile of junk?" Izuku, his voice slightly distorted by the suit's internal communication system, replied calmly, "This contraption, as you call it, is a scientifically engineered apparatus designed to optimize combat performance through enhanced firepower, protection, and maneuverability. Its designation is XS-1 Goliath." Midnight, regaining her composure, cracked her whip. "All right, contestants. Are you ready? Begin." The instant the signal was given, Bakugo launched himself at Izuku, explosions erupting from his palms. He moved with his characteristic speed and aggression, aiming for a swift, decisive strike. But Izuku was ready. The Goliath's internal sensors tracked Bakugo's movements with clinical precision. With a whirring sound, the chain gun on the Goliath's arm spun to life, unleashing a torrent of hardened projectiles. Unlike the pathetic pellets of the prototype, these rounds were high-velocity and armor-piercing. The sheer volume and force of the chain gun fire caught Bakugo completely off guard. He tried to weave through the barrage, using his explosions for bursts of speed and maneuverability, but the Goliath's targeting system was relentless. Several rounds slammed into Bakugo's chest plate with brutal force, the impact knocking the wind out of him and sending him stumbling backward. Before he could recover, he tripped over the edge of the fighting platform and tumbled out of the ring. The arena fell silent for a moment, the only sound the fading whir of the Goliath's chain gun. Then, a collective gasp swept through the crowd, followed by a roar of disbelief and excitement. What just happened?" Present Mike stammered. Bakugo, the explosive prodigy, was just taken out in one hit. By a giant robot. Nizu chuckled softly on the commentary platform. "Indeed, Present Mike, Midoriya-kun's unconventional approach to combat is proving remarkably effective, a testament to the power of applied science." In the next match, Shinso faced Hatsum Mei. As expected, Mei's strategy was unpredictable. She unleashed a barrage of bizarre gadgets, ranging from spring-loaded grappling hooks to miniature smoke bombs, none of which seemed to have any coherent offensive purpose. Shinso, with a sigh, simply activated his brainwashing quirk. May, caught completely off guard by a seemingly innocuous question about her latest baby, fell under his control and promptly walked out of the ring, enthusiastically explaining the intricate design flaws of her latest invention as she went. Izuku's second match was against Todoroki Shoto. The half-cold, half-hot hero in training approached the arena with a stoic expression of visible determination in his heterochromatic eyes. As the fight began, Todoroki immediately unleashed a massive wave of ice, attempting to encase the Goliath in a frozen prison. Izuku, anticipating this tactic, activated the Goliath's integrated high-intensity laser emitters, focusing their energy on the rapidly approaching ice. The beams carved through the ice wall, creating a momentary distraction. In that split second, Izuku launched a small, high-explosive missile from a hidden compartment in the Goliath's arm. The missile streaked towards Todoroki and detonated just before it reached him, the concussive blast and resulting shockwave throwing him off balance and out of the ring. Again, the crowd erupted in stunned disbelief. Izuku's tactical thinking and the sheer power of the Goliath were proving to be overwhelming. Shinso's second match was against Kendo Itsuka. Shinso attempted to use his brainwashing quirk, but Kendo, having witnessed his previous match, remained deliberately silent, focusing intently on him without uttering a single word. Frustrated, Shinso tried a more direct approach, but Kendo's powerful big fist quirk proved too much for him to handle in close combat, and she swiftly knocked him out of the ring. The final match was Izuku versus Kendo. Kendo, a formidable martial artist with enhanced strength and intellect, approached the Goliath cautiously. She attempted to use her agility and tactical awareness to outmaneuver the larger, slower exoskeleton. However, the Goliath's chain gun provided a constant, overwhelming threat, forcing Kendo to remain on the defensive. After a series of near misses and strategic retreats, Izuku managed to corner Kendo and, with a precise burst from his chain gun, forced her out of the ring. The stadium exploded in cheers. Izuku Midoriya, the quirkless student from Class 1X, piloting his magnificent XS-1 Goliath, had won the UA Sports Festival. On the commentary platform, Nizu was beaming. Magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. Midoriya-kun has demonstrated the incredible potential of human ingenuity and the power of applied science. A truly groundbreaking victory. Present Mike was hoarse from shouting. He did it. The underdog. The science whiz. Midoriya Izuku is your champion. Midnight watched Izuku with a mixture of pride and a slightly flustered admiration. Her colleagues were once again teasing her relentlessly. In the stands, the reactions were varied. Class 1A stared in awe and disbelief. Bakugo, recovering in the waiting room, was seething with incandescent rage. Todoroki watched with a thoughtful expression, a flicker of respect in his eyes. The pro heroes in the stands and watching at home were equally stunned. Mirko let out a whistle of impressed admiration. That kid's got more firepower than half the heroes out there. And he's smarter than all of them. Ryukyu nodded slowly, acknowledging the sheer strategic brilliance on display. MT Lady cheered enthusiastic, blush on her face. Even All for One, watching from his hidden lair, couldn't help but acknowledge the unexpected turn of events. That child. He is far more resourceful than I anticipated. His influence. It grows. Back in the arena, Izuku deactivated the Goliath, the massive exoskeleton settling onto the platform with a resounding thud. He stepped out of the cockpit, a calm sense of satisfaction washing over him. He had not only met Nizu's challenge, but had exceeded all expectations. The age of science had arrived at the UA Sports Festival, and it had made a truly explosive debut. The world of heroes would never look quite the same again. The week following the sports festival, UA returned to its regular rhythm, though the aftershocks of Izuku's performance still reverberated through the campus. Students whispered about the XS-1 Goliath. Heroes debated the implications of his technology, and Principal Nizu, ever the visionary, was already formulating new ways to incorporate Izuku's scientific prowess into the curriculum. Izuku found himself back in Class 1X, facing a new challenge from Nizu. Midoriya-kun, the principal chirped, perched on his usual high stool. Your performance at the sports festival was enlightening. Now, let us turn our attention to a more pressing matter, the future of energy. Nizu presented Izuku with a new project to design and patent a revolutionary method of energy generation. The world's reliance on fossil fuels was unsustainable, and while Quarks offered some solutions, a truly clean and efficient energy source remained elusive. Izuku's mind immediately gravitated towards nuclear fusion, the process that powered the stars themselves. Fusion offered the potential for virtually limitless energy with minimal waste. However, achieving controlled fusion on Earth was a monumental scientific hurdle. A fusion reactor, Izuku mused, sketching diagrams in his notebook. Theoretically feasible, but the practical challenges are immense. We would need to generate and contain temperatures exceeding those of the sun. Precisely, Nizu exclaimed. And that, Midoriya-kun, is where your ingenuity comes in. Think outside the box. Consider unconventional approaches. And, of course, patent your design. We must ensure that this technology is used for the benefit of humanity. Izuku got to work, immersing himself in research and experimentation. He devoured scientific papers, consulted with experts, and spent countless hours in his lab, surrounded by his usual array of equipment and half-finished projects. He soon realized that a crucial component for his reactor was helium-3, a rare isotope of helium that was ideal for fusion reactions due to its minimal neutron production, which reduced radioactive waste. Unfortunately, helium-3 was scarce on Earth. The primary source was lunar regolith, the loose soil and rock on the moon's surface. Transporting it to Earth was prohibitively expensive and logistically complex. Then, a solution occurred to him. Yaoyorozu Momo's creation quirk. She could create non-living materials from her own body mass, provided she understood their molecular structure. And Izuku, with his encyclopedic knowledge of chemistry, could provide her with the necessary information. He sought out Momo in the 1A classroom, explaining his predicament and his proposed solution. Momo, initially surprised by the request, was intrigued by the scientific challenge. After a detailed explanation of the molecular structure of helium-3, she agreed to assist him, her creative mind already visualizing the process. As Izuku worked on the reactor design, he also made a point of visiting Shigaraki, who was now residing in a specially designed room within the UA campus, a part of Nizu's experimental villain rehabilitation program. Shigaraki, surprisingly, seemed content. He had been spending his time reading the science textbooks Izuku had provided, his initial curiosity blossoming into genuine interest. So, Shigaraki said, his voice less raspy and more thoughtful, this fusion thing. It's like making a tiny star, right? In essence, yes, Izuku confirmed, adjusting his glasses. We are attempting to replicate the nuclear processes that occur within a star's core, but on a much smaller and controlled scale. Shigaraki hesitated for a moment, then spoke, his voice unusually hesitant. Izuku, I've been thinking about what you said about science, about potential. I was wondering, would it be possible for me to join your classes? To learn more? Izuku blinked, taken aback by the request. He considered the implications. Shigaraki was intelligent, albeit with a deeply damaged psyche. His decay quirk, while destructive, could potentially be harnessed for controlled demolition or material processing. And his newfound interest in science could provide him with a new focus, a way to channel his energies into constructive pursuits. Logistically, Izuku began. Your participation in Class 1X could present certain challenges. However, the potential benefits, both for your rehabilitation and for the advancement of our research, are significant. I will discuss this with Principal Nizu. Nizu, unsurprisingly, was enthusiastic about the idea. He saw it as a unique opportunity to test the boundaries of his rehabilitation program and to foster an unlikely collaboration between two individuals with extraordinary, albeit vastly different, talents. And so, Tamura Shigaraki became a student of Class 1X. He approached his studies with a surprising diligence, his initial fascination quickly evolving into a genuine passion for scientific inquiry. He worked alongside Izuku, his once destructive hands now manipulating intricate machinery and delicate instruments. Their collaboration was unconventional, to say the least. Izuku, with his methodical precision and encyclopedic knowledge, and Shigaraki, with his intuitive grasp of complex systems and his surprisingly deft touch, formed an unlikely but effective team. Meanwhile, Uraraka continued to be a source of distraction. Her resentment towards Izuku had only intensified, fueled by his continued success and the attention he received. She frequently interrupted their work with petty complaints and baseless accusations, her voice shrill and accusatory. Aizawa, however, was quick to intervene, his patience wearing thin with each outburst. One afternoon, as Izuku and Shigaraki were calibrating a crucial component of the fusion reactor, Nizu summoned Izuku to his office. "Midoriya-kun," Nizu said, his smile unusually serious. "We have new arrivals in the villain rehabilitation program. I believe they wish to speak with you." In the adjacent room, Izuku found a group of familiar faces. Stain, the hero killer. Toga Himiko, her cheerful demeanor somewhat subdued. Dabi, his usual aloofness tinged with a hint of uncertainty. Compress, his masked face inscrutable. And Twice, his personality split and visibly conflicted. A tense silence filled the room. Stain, his piercing gaze fixed on Izuku, spoke first. You said things at the sports festival about a world where humanity isn't limited by quirks. I've been thinking about it. Could there be another way? Besides killing? Toga, her voice uncharacteristically quiet, added, We just wanted a place to belong. A family. But maybe we could be something else." Dabi, his voice low and hesitant, said, "He's right. You've got guts, kid. And brains. Maybe there's a different way to use them." Compress and Twice echoed, their sentiments, their usual theatrics and internal conflicts replaced by a fragile hope. Izuku listened intently, his analytical mind processing their words. He saw not hardened criminals, but individuals driven to extremes by a society that had failed them. He saw potential, just as he had seen in Shigaraki. He spoke, his voice calm and firm. "There is always another way. The path to change is not always paved with violence. It requires understanding, collaboration, and a willingness to challenge the status quo." And, he added, a hint of a smile on his face, a healthy dose of scientific innovation. He spent the next hour talking with them, explaining his vision for a future where science and technology empowered everyone, regardless of their quirks or past actions. He spoke of the potential for advanced prosthetics, genetic therapies, and even the possibility of reversing the effects of quirks altogether. He offered them a chance to be part of that future, to contribute their unique skills and perspectives to the advancement of humanity. The former villains listened, their expressions shifting from skepticism to curiosity to a fragile hope. They saw in Izuku not a hero, but a catalyst, a force for change that transcended the traditional boundaries of hero and villain. As Izuku returned to his lab, he found Shigaraki waiting for him, his face alight with excitement. "Izuku, I was thinking, when we finish the reactor, we should patent the design. And then we can start a company, a global company, to build them. We could sell them for, like, 3.4 billion each. And then we can use the money to fund all sorts of other projects. Space exploration, genetic research. We could even bring back the dinosaurs." Izuku chuckled, a rare and genuine sound. "A sound financial strategy, Shigaraki. And your enthusiasm is infectious. We shall indeed pursue a patent and establish a company. And," he added, a mischievous glint in his eye, "perhaps we can even bring back the dinosaurs. One step at a time." He also began to work with Toga, helping her to find healthy ways to manage her bloodlust through regulated blood donations and the study of hematology. He explained the science behind her quirk, helping her to understand her own body and mind. Slowly, Toga began to stabilize, her personality becoming less erratic and more normal. He also addressed Twice dual personality disorder, using a combination of psychological techniques and scientific demonstrations. He showed Twice that his clones were not separate entities, but extensions of himself, helping him to integrate his fractured psyche. The UA campus was becoming a hub of unlikely alliances and groundbreaking collaborations. A quirkless scientist, a former villain, and a group of reformed criminals working together to build a future powered by science. It was a future that defied the traditional notions of heroism and villainy, a future where the only limit was human ingenuity. And it was a future that was rapidly approaching, fueled by the boundless potential of Izuku Midoriya and his ever-expanding circle of friends. The atmosphere within UA had shifted. The presence of the former villains, now students in their own right, added a layer of complexity and intrigue to the already unique environment. Principal Nizu's gamble was paying off, albeit in ways even he hadn't fully anticipated. The ex-villains, under Izuku's guidance and the surprisingly supportive environment of UA, were not only reforming but thriving, channeling their unique skills and perspectives into constructive and often groundbreaking pursuits. Dabi, surprisingly, had taken a keen interest in law. His experiences with the darker side of hero society, particularly his vendetta against Endeavor, had fueled a desire to dismantle the corrupt systems he believed enabled such abuse of power. He was diligently studying for the bar exam, his sharp intellect and meticulous attention to detail making him a formidable legal mind. His ultimate goal was to become a lawyer, a champion for the voiceless and the victims of systemic injustice, and to bring Endeavor to justice through the legal system. Stain, the hero killer, found solace and purpose in the study of botany. His passion for farming, a stark contrast to his violent past, led him to delve into the intricacies of plant genetics. He was working on developing new strains of crops that were resistant to disease and drought, with the potential to alleviate world hunger. His research was meticulous and driven by a desire to nurture life, a far cry from his previous mission of taking it. Toga Himiko, under Izuku's careful guidance, had discovered a fascination with medical science, particularly hematology. Her unique quirk, which allowed her to transform into others by ingesting their vital fluid, had given her a deep understanding of the human circulatory system. She was now dedicated to using her knowledge to develop new blood-related therapies and treatments. Her once twisted obsession with vital fluid transformed into a quest to heal and save lives. Twice, with his ability to create duplicates of himself, found an unexpected outlet in social sciences. He was studying group dynamics, psychology, and communication, fascinated by the complexities of human interaction and the factors that led to social isolation and alienation. He hoped to use his understanding to bridge divides and foster empathy, a far cry from his previous life of fractured identity and chaotic actions. Spinner, the lizard-like man, discovered a talent for writing. He was studying literature, philosophy, and history, his unique perspective shaped by his experiences as an outcast in a quirk-centric society. He aspired to become a doctor of philosophy, using his words to challenge societal norms and advocate for a more inclusive and equitable world. Compress, with his flair for the dramatic and his meticulous planning skills, found his niche in business and entertainment. He was studying marketing, economics, and performance arts, his goal to create ventures that would both entertain and educate, using his skills to bring people together and promote understanding. Izuku and Shigaraki, meanwhile, were deeply engrossed in their nuclear fusion reactor project. Their collaboration was a fascinating blend of scientific brilliance and pragmatic problem-solving. Izuku focused on the theoretical aspects, the intricate calculations, and engineering challenges of containing a miniature star. Shigaraki, with his intuitive grasp of systems and his surprisingly steady hands, worked on the practical construction, his once destructive abilities now carefully controlled and channeled into precise manipulation of materials. Their reactor was progressing at an astonishing rate. They had overcome numerous obstacles, from developing a containment field strong enough to withstand the immense heat to devising a system for safely extracting and distributing the generated energy. They were on the verge of a breakthrough, a working prototype that could potentially revolutionize the world's energy supply. But their ambitions didn't stop there. They recognized the transformative potential of their technology and the immense responsibility that came with it. They envisioned a future powered by clean, limitless energy, a future free from the constraints of fossil fuels and the geopolitical conflicts they fueled. "We can't just build the reactor," Izuku said, his eyes gleaming with excitement as he and Shigaraki pored over their latest calculations. "We need to create a system for distributing this energy globally, equitably, and sustainably." "A company," Shigaraki suggested, his voice surprisingly enthusiastic. "A global company that sells the reactors and the technology to other countries. We can use the profits to fund even more ambitious projects." "Precisely," Izuku agreed. "A corporation with a scientific mandate." We will offer the technology at a reasonable cost, enough to cover production and research, but not so exorbitant as to create economic inequality. Perhaps an initial price of 3.4 billion per reactor unit, adjusted based on production costs and demand. Their vision extended far beyond energy. They saw the fusion reactor as a stepping stone, a catalyst for a new era of scientific advancement. With the profits, Izuku continued, we will invest in space exploration. We will develop more efficient propulsion systems, design self-sustaining habitats, and seek to establish a permanent human presence beyond Earth. We will unravel the mysteries of the cosmos and secure humanity's future among the stars. And, Shigaraki added, a rare smile gracing his face, we'll use the technology to upgrade everything here on Earth. Better transportation, more advanced medical treatments, maybe even bring back the dinosaurs, like I always wanted. A long-term project, Izuku chuckled, but not entirely outside the realm of possibility. We will also focus on developing more efficient methods of transporting supplies and personnel to space, perhaps even a space elevator or skyhook. As Class 1A visited Class 1X to see what their classmates had been working on, they were met with a scene that both fascinated and bewildered them. Izuku and Shigaraki, surrounded by a complex array of machinery and glowing energy fields, were working on the final stages of their reactor. The air crackled with controlled power, and the room hummed with a low, resonant energy. The former villains, each immersed in their respective projects, presented an equally striking tableau. Dabi, surrounded by legal texts and case files, argued passionately with a holographic representation of a stern-looking lawyer. Stain, his hands covered in soil, examined a rapidly growing plant with a complex network of sensors and monitors. Toga, meticulously analyzing the samples under a high-powered microscope, occasionally muttered to herself about cellular structures. Twice, engaged in a lively debate with his duplicates, gesticulated wildly as he discussed sociological theories. And Compress, surrounded by blueprints and design sketches, practiced elaborate gestures and vocal inflections, seemingly rehearsing for a presentation. Class 1A stared in stunned silence. This was not the UA they knew. This was a laboratory of the future, a hub of intellectual fervor and scientific ambition, populated by a group of individuals who had once been society's outcasts but were now on the verge of changing the world. What is all this? Kirishima asked, his usual enthusiasm replaced by a mixture of awe and confusion. We are engaged in various research and development projects, Izuku explained, his face alight with scientific passion. Shigaraki and I are nearing completion on our nuclear fusion reactor, a device that will provide a virtually limitless supply of clean energy. Dabi is pursuing a legal career to advocate for systemic change. Stain is developing advanced agricultural techniques. Toga is working on groundbreaking medical research. Twice is studying social dynamics. And Compress is exploring new frontiers in communication and entertainment. He gestured around the lab, his smile widening as he saw the sheer scope of their collective endeavors. We are not merely students. We are pioneers. We are shaping the future. As Izuku spoke, Midnight, who had accompanied Class 1A, watched him with a particularly intense gaze. The sight of him, surrounded by his creations, his face illuminated by the glow of scientific progress, his voice filled with such passion and conviction. It was almost too much for her to bear. Her face flushed a deep crimson, and she had to discreetly fan herself with her hand to maintain her composure. Class 1A, still reeling from the sheer scale of what they had witnessed, could only stare in a mixture of disbelief and grudging admiration. They had come to see what Class 1X was doing, and they had been shown a glimpse of a future they had never imagined, a future where science, intellect, and the power of human collaboration transcended the limitations of quirks and the traditional notions of heroism. The world, it seemed, was about to change in ways they could scarcely comprehend. The 2 months following Class 1A's eye-opening visit to the Class 1X labs were a period of intense activity and unprecedented progress. The collaborative spirit within the specialized class had solidified, each member contributing their unique talents to a shared vision of a scientifically advanced future. The nuclear fusion reactor, a marvel of repurposed technology and collective ingenuity, took shape at an astonishing pace. Leveraging twice seemingly limitless supply of clones for rapid assembly and intricate component fabrication, coupled with the precision of Izuku's robotics and Shigaraki's surprisingly adept manipulation of materials now carefully controlled and directed, the reactor began to resemble the advanced tokamak design Izuku had envisioned. Its toroidal chamber, encased in layers of superconducting magnets and diagnostic equipment, hummed with the promise of contained stellar power. The process was a testament to their unconventional synergy, a former villain and a quirkless prodigy working in perfect harmony. The patent for their revolutionary nuclear fusion reactor was successfully secured, a complex legal process navigated with surprising efficiency thanks to Dabi's burgeoning legal expertise and his meticulous research into intellectual property law. With the patent in hand, Nexus Energy, the company spearheaded by Mr. Compress and Spinner, officially launched. Mr. Compress, with his natural showmanship and keen understanding of market dynamics, took on the role of CEO, presenting their groundbreaking technology to the world with his characteristic flair. Spinner, surprisingly adept at business strategy and logistics, served as the chief operations officer, ensuring the smooth and ethical deployment of their reactors. Their initial marketing campaigns, emphasizing the clean, virtually limitless energy and the potential to combat climate change, garnered significant international attention. The first orders came swiftly. The United Kingdom, grappling with aging power infrastructure, placed a substantial request. The United States, recognizing the strategic importance of energy independence, followed suit. Even Japan, initially hesitant due to its history with nuclear power, placed an order, swayed by the inherent safety features and the long-term sustainability of fusion energy. Nexus Energy was an instant global phenomenon, and the initial revenue projections were staggering. Principal Nizu, observing their progress, awarded Class 1X a resounding A+, his smile radiating pride and perhaps a hint of mischievous satisfaction at the disruption they were causing. With the influx of capital, Izuku and Shigaraki turned their attention to their next ambitious projects. The dream of space exploration, once a distant fantasy, now seemed within reach. Their research focused on two key areas: developing a new generation of powerful and efficient rockets, and the theoretical construction of a skyhook, a colossal structure that would extend from the Earth's surface into geostationary orbit, providing a cost-effective and energy-efficient pathway to space. Stain, meanwhile, was making remarkable progress in his agricultural research. Utilizing his knowledge of plant genetics and collaborating with Izuku on advanced gene editing techniques, he was developing supercrops with enhanced yields, nutritional value, and resilience to harsh environmental conditions. His Terragenesis project held the potential to revolutionize global food production, addressing issues of famine and food security. Toga continued her groundbreaking work in medical science, her unique understanding of vital fluid leading to the development of innovative diagnostic tools and targeted therapies for various vital fluid disorders. Her research was driven by a genuine desire to alleviate suffering, a stark contrast to her earlier, more destructive tendencies. Twice, having gained a better understanding of social dynamics, was working on developing advanced artificial intelligence systems designed to foster communication and empathy. His Nexus AI project aimed to create virtual platforms that could bridge cultural divides and promote understanding between diverse groups. Compress, in addition to his CEO duties, was exploring the intersection of entertainment and education. He was developing immersive holographic experiences that could teach complex scientific concepts in engaging and accessible ways, hoping to inspire a new generation of thinkers and innovators. The remarkable progress of Class 1X did not go unnoticed by the pro-hero community. Intrigued by their groundbreaking achievements and the rumors of their unconventional leader, several heroes began to visit the UA campus to witness their work firsthand. Mirko, her usual boisterous energy barely contained, practically vibrated with excitement as she toured Izuku's lab. She peppered him with questions about the fusion reactor and the rocket designs, her sharp crimson eyes gleaming with curiosity. "So this skyhook thing," she said, flexing her powerful legs. You're gonna build a giant beanstalk to space? That's insane. I love it. Ryukyu, in her human form, observed Stain's hydroponic gardens with quiet fascination, her gentle eyes widening at the sight of the vibrant, genetically enhanced crops. She engaged Stain in lengthy discussions about sustainable agriculture and the potential to feed a growing global population. MT Lady, in her normal, human guise, found herself inexplicably drawn to Izuku's presence. She lingered near him during the lab tours, her cheeks flushing slightly whenever their eyes met. His intense focus and quiet confidence had a certain appeal. That fusion reactor. It's really powerful, huh? Midoriya-kun, she asked, her voice a little breathy. Izuku, ever focused on the scientific details, launched into a detailed explanation of the energy output and containment mechanisms, oblivious to the effect his earnestness was having on the towering heroine. Izuku, remembering Mirko's interest in combat applications of his technology, had been working on a special project for her, a compact, shoulder-mounted laser cannon. Designed for non-lethal takedowns and crowd control, it was lightweight, energy-efficient, and capable of delivering focused energy blasts. He presented the prototype to Mirko during one of her visits. "Mirko-san," he said, holding out the sleek device, "I have designed a supplementary support item that may be of use to you. It utilizes focused laser emission for rapid, non-lethal neutralization of targets." Mirko's eyes widened. She took the laser cannon, its metallic surface cool in her hand. She aimed it experimentally, a wide grin spreading across her face. "A laser cannon, huh? For this bunny? You're all right, kid." A faint blush dusted her cheeks. Izuku's thoughtfulness was unexpectedly charming. The visits from pro-heroes became a regular occurrence, each one drawn by a different aspect of Class 1X's groundbreaking work. They saw not just the potential for technological advancement, but also the remarkable transformation of the former villains, a testament to Izuku's unique approach and the supportive environment fostered by Nizu. Izuku and Shigaraki, despite their intense focus on their projects, found themselves occasionally drawn into conversations with the visiting heroes, patiently explaining the scientific principles behind their inventions and their vision for a better future. The initial skepticism of the heroes gradually gave way to admiration and even a sense of hope. As the 2 months drew to a close, Class 1X stood on the cusp of a new era. Their fusion reactor was nearing completion, their company was thriving, and their ambitious plans for space exploration and global betterment were gaining momentum. The world was watching, intrigued and perhaps a little apprehensive, as the quirkless boy and his unlikely allies continued to push the boundaries of science and redefine the very meaning of heroism. The age of quirks might still dominate, but the age of science was undeniably dawning, spearheaded by the extraordinary students of Class 1X. The atmosphere within UA's main auditorium was electric. The first-term final exams for Class 1X were underway, and the air crackled with anticipation. This wasn't a test of physical prowess or quirk mastery. It was a showcase of innovation, intellect, and the tangible results of months of dedicated research and development. Dabi presented his meticulously crafted legal arguments, delivered with a newfound confidence and a burning passion for justice. He argued a hypothetical case against a corrupt hero agency, demonstrating his sharp legal mind and his commitment to systemic reform. The UA Legal Studies faculty were visibly impressed. Stain unveiled his latest strain of supercrop, a variety of rice that could thrive in arid conditions and boasted significantly enhanced nutritional content. He explained the intricate genetic modifications he had implemented, his passion for nurturing life evident in his presentation. Agricultural experts watching the live stream were astounded by the potential implications for global food security. Toga showcased her advanced blood diagnostic tool, a compact device capable of analyzing the samples in real time, detecting diseases and genetic markers with unprecedented accuracy. Medical professionals watching the broadcast recognized the potential for revolutionizing healthcare. Twice, with the aid of his duplicates, presented the initial framework for Nexus AI, demonstrating its ability to analyze and respond to complex emotional cues, fostering more empathetic and effective communication in simulated social interactions. Social scientists were intrigued by the potential for bridging societal divides. Compress delivered a captivating presentation outlining his holographic educational entertainment system, showcasing interactive simulations that made complex scientific principles accessible and engaging. Educational theorists saw the potential to transform learning methodologies. Finally, it was Izuku and Shigaraki's turn. A hush fell over the auditorium as they wheeled in their creation, the completed nuclear fusion reactor. It was a marvel of engineering, its intricate network of pipes, magnets, and diagnostic equipment gleaming under the stage lights. A palpable hum of contained energy emanated from within its core. For our final examination, Izuku announced, his voice clear and steady. Shigaraki and I will demonstrate the operational capabilities of our prototype nuclear fusion reactor. Shigaraki, standing beside him, added with a surprising degree of calm. We believe this technology represents a paradigm shift in energy generation, offering a clean, sustainable, and virtually limitless power source for humanity. With a series of precise adjustments and a final joint activation sequence, the reactor hummed louder, and a soft, ethereal glow emanated from within its central chamber. The live stream, broadcast globally, carried the image of this contained star to billions of viewers. The reaction was instantaneous and widespread. Across the globe, pro-heroes watching the stream were awestruck. All Might, in the UA staff room, stared at the screen, his jaw slightly agape. Fusion. They actually did it. Present Mike, broadcasting his own live reaction online, was practically screaming into his microphone. Listeners, did you see that? They just turned on a star. A miniature sun. The future is here, folks. Midnight, watching with the other UA teachers, had a look of stunned admiration on her face. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Samintas stared, his usually stoic expression betraying a hint of wonder. Snipe whistled, impressed by the sheer ingenuity. 13's visor reflected the glowing reactor, a silent testament to the monumental achievement. Vlad King simply blinked, speechless. Power Loader, tears welling in his eyes, muttered about the brilliance of youth. Recovery Girl shook her head in disbelief, while Hound Dog let out a low, impressed growl. Ectoplasm's clones mirrored his own wide-eyed amazement. Aizawa, leaning against the wall, couldn't suppress a small, almost imperceptible nod of respect. Principal Nizu, observing the global reaction on multiple monitors, simply steepled his fingers and smiled, a look of profound satisfaction on his features. The Japanese Military Command Center erupted in a flurry of urgent discussions. Generals and officers stared at the live stream, their minds racing with the potential military applications of such a powerful energy source. Imagine the weaponry we could develop. The vehicles. The strategic advantage. One general murmured, his eyes gleaming with ambition. A clandestine plan began to form. Secure this technology for Japan by any means necessary. They mistakenly believed that a student, no matter how brilliant, wouldn't have the foresight to secure patent rights. The Public Hero Safety Commission, a bastion of corruption and self-interest, viewed the fusion reactor with a different kind of avarice. They saw not a solution to global energy problems, but a potential source of immense power and control. If we can control this technology, one high-ranking commissioner sneered, we can control the heroes, the economy, everything. They too began to formulate a strategy to seize the reactor, assuming Izuku was naive and hadn't protected his intellectual property. In their hidden lairs, villains reacted with a mix of awe and apprehension. The Meta Liberation Army, watching the broadcast in their underground headquarters, saw in Izuku's achievement a validation of their own ideals. This quirkless individual, one prominent member declared, has achieved something that most quirk users can only dream of. It proves that human potential transcends mere genetic lottery. This technology could liberate us all. All for one watched the demonstration with a cold, calculating gaze. Such power. In the hands of a child. It could disrupt my plans. I must understand this technology, control it, or eliminate it as a threat. Overhaul, his face still hidden behind his mask, felt a surge of conflicted emotions. On one hand, the reliance on technology over quirks was something he could appreciate. On the other, the sheer scale and potential of this energy source were unsettling. It represented a different kind of power, one that could potentially overshadow even the most potent quirks. Back at UA, the students of Class 1A watched the live stream with a mixture of shock and pride. They actually did it, murmured Yaoyorozu, her eyes wide with admiration. Bakugo, watching from his dorm room, simply gritted his teeth in grudging respect. Todoroki's expression was thoughtful, a hint of understanding in his heterochromatic eyes. Later, Izuku spoke with Shinso, who had just completed his hero course final exam, a grueling battle simulation against Eraserhead and Present Mike. The hero course exams were characteristically brutal, Shinso said with a weary sigh. We had to try and apprehend Aizawa-sensei and Mike-sensei in a simulated disaster zone. Let's just say sleep deprivation was weaponized. Congratulations on completing it, Izuku replied. Your strategic thinking and control over your quirk must have been invaluable. It was challenging, Shinso admitted. But we managed. Speaking of challenges, your presentation. The fusion reactor. The entire world is talking about it. It is a significant step towards a more sustainable future, Izuku said, a hint of pride in his voice. And it opens up numerous avenues for further research and development. Shinso then shared some surprising news. You know those 10 general education students who showed interest in Class 1X? They've officially transferred. Nizu-sensei approved their applications. Our little club is growing. Later that day, Izuku was summoned to Nizu's office. Midoriya, the principal chirped, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Your victory at the sports festival comes with certain perks. You have been granted a complimentary ticket to the I-Island Expo, a prestigious international exhibition showcasing the latest advancements in hero technology and scientific innovation. Izuku's eyes widened. The I-Island Expo? Principal, that's incredible. Thank you. He had read extensively about the expo, a gathering of the world's brightest minds and most cutting-edge technologies. The opportunity to attend was a dream come true. Unbeknownst to Izuku, as he celebrated his achievement and looked forward to the I-Island Expo, the wheels of government bureaucracy and military ambition were already turning. The Japanese government, spurred by the military's fervent interest, began to make clandestine inquiries about the patent for the fusion reactor technology. They assumed that a student project might have overlooked such crucial legal protections. The Public Hero Safety Commission, operating with their usual shadowy tactics, launched their own covert investigation, eager to seize control of the revolutionary energy source. However, their inquiries soon hit a wall. A thorough search of the National Patent Registry revealed that method and apparatus for controlled nuclear fusion, along with numerous related technologies developed by Class 1X, were indeed legally protected. The patent, filed with meticulous detail and foresight under the collective name of Class 1X and UA High School, was ironclad, designed to last for an unprecedented 1,000 years, ensuring that the technology could not be exploited for short-sighted gain or military dominance without their explicit consent. The news sent shockwaves through the government, the military, and the Public Hero Safety Commission. Their attempts to seize the technology were thwarted by the very intelligence and foresight they had underestimated in a group of UA students. The world had witnessed the dawn of fusion, and now it would also witness the dawn of a new era of scientific empowerment, protected by the very minds that had conceived it. The future, it seemed, belonged to the innovators. The live demonstration of the nuclear fusion reactor sent shockwaves across the globe, eclipsing news cycles and sparking fervent discussions in every corner of society. The implications of a clean, virtually limitless energy source were profound, and the world grappled with the dawning of a new era. On I-Island, David Shield watched the broadcast with a mixture of pride and astonishment. "Melissa," he murmured, his eyes glued to the screen. They actually did it. Fusion. Controlled and stable. That boy, Izuku. His intellect is truly something extraordinary. Melissa, standing beside him, nodded, her own brilliance recognizing the magnitude of the achievement. And Shigaraki. To see him working alongside Midoriya like that. It's incredible. This could change everything, Dad. Governments around the world scrambled to assess the implications. The initial reactions were a blend of excitement and strategic calculation. In the Oval Office, the President of the United States watched the replay of Izuku and Shigaraki's presentation, a thoughtful expression on his face. He recalled the young man's earnest speech at the UA Sports Festival, his vision of humanity reaching for the stars. A genuine smile touched his lips. Space. Imagine a future where energy isn't a constraint. A future where we truly explore the cosmos. He gazed at a still image of Izuku on the screen. Could this be the key? Could this young mind unlock that potential? He picked up the phone. Get me my science advisor. And then, patch me through a secure line to Japan. I want to speak with this Midoriya and his team. We need to discuss collaboration and perhaps a few reactors for the United States. Soon, similar requests began pouring into Japan from nations across the globe, each eager to secure a stake in this revolutionary technology. The reaction from major oil and fossil fuel companies was, predictably, one of alarm. Boardrooms buzzed with emergency meetings, panicked executives scrambling to devise strategies to mitigate the existential threat to their industry. This fusion, it's a game changer. We need to discredit it, invest in competing technologies, lobby governments. One CEO declared, oblivious to the futility of their efforts against a technology that promised to be cleaner, cheaper, and infinitely more sustainable. Their plans, rooted in denial and short-sighted self-preservation, were ultimately destined to fail against the tide of scientific progress. Within the Japanese government and military, the initial awe quickly morphed into a desperate scramble for control. The military, blinded by the potential for weaponization, pushed for immediate seizure of the technology. Imagine the power output. We could equip our forces with unimaginable capabilities, a hawkish general argued. The Public Safety Commission, ever eager to expand their influence, saw an opportunity to consolidate their power. We must control this energy source. It's too dangerous to let it fall into the wrong hands, or the hands of a few students. Their plans, however, were hampered by their underestimation of Izuku and his team. As they initiated their covert operations, dispatching shadowy agents and drafting legal justifications for seizing the technology, they were met with an impenetrable wall of intellectual property law. The 1,000-year patent, meticulously crafted and legally airtight, made any attempt at forced acquisition a non-starter, a fact they discovered with growing frustration and impotent rage. Other nations, including Russia and North Korea, reacted with a mixture of suspicion and intense interest. While they also considered potential acquisition, their intelligence agencies quickly confirmed the existence of the robust patent, leading to a more cautious approach of diplomatic overtures and offers of research collaboration. In the shadowy corners of the villain world, reactions were equally varied. The Meta-Liberation Army, their ideology rooted in Quirk's supremacy, viewed Izuku's quirkless achievement with utter disdain. A quirkless insect, surpassing those blessed with power, one high-ranking member spat. This technology is a mockery of true evolution. We must ensure that quirks remain the dominant force. Their plans, fueled by their ingrained prejudice, revolved around discrediting and potentially sabotaging Izuku's work. All for One, however, saw a different kind of threat. The widespread adoption of fusion power could destabilize the quirk-based power structures he sought to control. He began to subtly manipulate events, planting seeds of doubt and discord, seeking to undermine public trust in the new technology and sow chaos. Overhaul remained conflicted. While he despised quirks, the idea of a world powered by something other than human biology was intriguing. He observed the developments with a detached curiosity, unsure how this new paradigm would fit into his twisted worldview. Among the pro-heroes, the implications of fusion power sparked a wide range of reactions. Death Arms grumbled. Another reason for people to rely less on their quirks. This whole science thing is going too far. Kimui Woods, ever the pragmatist, saw the potential benefits. Clean energy. Imagine the reduction in pollution and the resources we could save. MT Lady, still harboring a secret admiration for the young scientist, exclaimed, "This is amazing. No more relying on dirty power plants." Midoriya is a true hero. Mirko, ever direct, saw the tactical advantages. Unlimited energy means better support items, faster transportation. We'll be unstoppable. Ryukyu pondered the long-term societal changes. A world with abundant energy. It could alleviate so much suffering and inequality. Endeavor, surprisingly introspective, watched the news reports with a grim determination. He recognized the potential for this technology to reshape the world, and he also recognized his own past failures and the damage he had inflicted on his family. A desperate thought took root. An alliance with someone like Izuku, someone with the potential to usher in a brighter future, might be a path towards redemption. He considered the possibility of an arranged marriage between his intelligent and compassionate daughter, Fuyumi, and the brilliant young scientist. It was a long shot, a desperate attempt to mend his fractured legacy, but he began to quietly explore the possibility. If this is the future, then perhaps I can still do something right. Hawks, ever the pragmatist and government operative, watched with a keen awareness of the geopolitical implications. He recognized the immense power that Izuku and his team now wielded and the potential for international conflict. He began to subtly monitor the movements of various governments and organizations, his sharp mind calculating the potential threats and opportunities. This could be a turning point. We need to tread carefully. The world held its breath, poised on the brink of a new era. The brilliance of Class 1X had illuminated a path towards a sustainable and technologically advanced future, but the forces of greed, ambition, and ingrained prejudice were already stirring in the shadows, eager to seize control of this transformative power. The journey ahead would be far from easy, but for Izuku and his unlikely allies, the dawn of fusion was just the beginning. The week following the groundbreaking final exams was a whirlwind of preparations for Izuku and his team. Principal Nizu, with his characteristic efficiency, had arranged for their travel to I-Island, ensuring their journey would be comfortable and hassle-free. The free ticket Izuku had received for winning the sports festival had been upgraded to include first-class accommodations for the entire Class 1X science cohort, a testament to their remarkable achievements. The news that a few students from Class 1A would also be attending the expo added another layer of anticipation. Izuku extended a personal invitation to Shinso, recognizing his integral role in their endeavors and valuing his insightful perspective. Shinso, initially surprised, readily accepted, a rare smile gracing his lips at the inclusion. The day of their departure arrived, and the Class 1X team, Izuku, Shigaraki, now affectionately nicknamed Shiggy by Toga, much to his initial chagrin but eventual begrudging acceptance, Dabi, Toga, Compress, Twice, Spinner, and Stain, along with Shinso, gathered at the airport. The first-class lounge was a haven of plush seating and quiet luxury, a stark contrast to the environments some of them were accustomed to. "Man, this is the life," Twice exclaimed, sinking into a soft armchair. "So comfy." "No, it's too fancy. I don't deserve this." "Yes, you do." Toga, ever curious, peered out the window at the bustling tarmac. "I wonder if there will be lots of interesting people on I-Island. Maybe some with really unique blood." Izuku, having worked extensively with Toga on managing her bloodlust, gently reminded her of their agreed-upon protocols, and she nodded cheerfully, her enthusiasm undimmed. Dabi, surprisingly relaxed, leaned back with a thoughtful expression. I-Island, a center of technological innovation. It will be enlightening to see what the rest of the world is working on. Stain, though not outwardly expressive, seemed to appreciate the quiet comfort of their surroundings. He was engrossed in a book on advanced hydroponics, a field he was now passionately pursuing. Compress, ever the smooth operator, surveyed their fellow first-class passengers with a practiced eye. An excellent opportunity for observation and networking, wouldn't you agree? Spinner, a notebook in hand, jotted down observations about the airport environment, his aspiring writer's mind finding inspiration in the mundane. Shigaraki, surprisingly at ease, was engrossed in a complex physics textbook Izuku had recommended. His initial apprehension about leaving UA had been replaced by a growing curiosity about the world and a quiet confidence in their achievements. Izuku, ever the organizer, ensured everyone had their travel documents and was comfortable. He felt a surge of excitement for the I-Island Expo, a chance to witness the cutting edge of scientific and hero technology. The flight itself was smooth and enjoyable. The team members, who had forged an unlikely but strong bond over the past few months, engaged in lively conversations, sharing their aspirations and discussing their ongoing projects. Izuku and Shigaraki excitedly debated the theoretical applications of their fusion technology for interstellar travel. Dabi and Stain had a surprisingly engaging discussion about the ethics of genetic modification in both law and agriculture, and Toga and Twice, in their own unique way, entertained the rest with their contrasting personalities. Shinso, observing them all, felt a sense of belonging he hadn't experienced before. Upon their arrival at I-Island, they were met with an unexpected scene. A contingent of official-looking vehicles and security personnel awaited them at the private airstrip. As they disembarked, they were approached by a distinguished-looking man in a sharp suit, who introduced himself as a representative of the I-Island Expo's organizing committee. Midoriya-sama, and esteemed members of Class 1X, the man said with a polite bow, "We extend our warmest welcome to I-Island. Due to the significant global interest in your recent groundbreaking achievements, we have the honor of informing you that numerous heads of state and high-ranking officials from around the world have arrived at I-Island and are eager to meet with you." He then proceeded to list the dignitaries present: the President of the United States, the Chancellor of Germany, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the Presidents of Italy, Spain, and France, the Prime Ministers of Canada, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, and India, the Presidents of China, Egypt, Switzerland, South Africa, Mexico, and Brazil. Notably, representatives from Russia and North Korea were also present, their intentions less transparent, but their interest undeniably intense. Izuku, though surprised by the sheer scale of the global attention, remained composed. He exchanged a look with his team, a silent understanding passing between them. "We appreciate the warm welcome," Izuku replied politely. "However, we have just arrived and would appreciate some time to settle in. We will be happy to address these esteemed individuals at a more appropriate time, perhaps during the formal ball scheduled later in the expo." The representative, though perhaps hoping for an immediate audience, understood the need for the young innovators to rest after their journey. He assured them that their request would be accommodated. The Class 1X team was then escorted to a luxurious hotel reserved for prominent guests of the expo. After settling into their respective suites, they decided to take some time to explore I-Island. The island itself was a marvel of technological advancement, showcasing futuristic architecture, cutting-edge transportation systems, and breathtaking displays of hero support technology. As they strolled through a bustling plaza filled with exhibits and demonstrations, Izuku found himself separated from the group for a moment. He paused before a display showcasing advanced robotics when a voice called out, "Excuse me? Are you Midoriya Izuku?" He turned to see a young woman with blonde hair and intelligent green eyes, a friendly smile on her face. "Yes, I am," Izuku replied, slightly curious. "Hi, I'm Melissa Shield," she said, extending a hand. "My dad is David Shield. I've been following your work. The fusion reactor is absolutely incredible." Izuku shook her hand, a rare smile touching his lips. "Thank you, Shield-san. Your father's work on support items is also quite renowned." Melissa's eyes lit up. "You know my dad's work? That's amazing. He was so impressed by your reactor. He said it was a breakthrough unlike anything he's seen in decades." They talked for a while, discussing their respective fields of expertise. Melissa was fascinated by Izuku's theoretical work on space propulsion and his skyhook concept, while Izuku was intrigued by Melissa's innovative designs for hero support gear. "You should meet my dad," Melissa said enthusiastically. "He's here at the expo, of course. He'd love to talk with you." Izuku agreed, and Melissa led him through the crowded expo halls until they reached a large booth showcasing various support items. David Shield, a kind-faced man with a warm smile, greeted Izuku warmly. "Midoriya-san, it's an honor to finally meet you. Your work on fusion, it's simply revolutionary." They engaged in a lengthy conversation, David peppering Izuku with questions about the reactor's design and its potential applications beyond energy generation. "So," David asked, his eyes twinkling with curiosity, "with your incredible intellect, have you ever considered applying your talents to hero support technology? There's always a need for more advanced and innovative gear for our heroes." Izuku paused for a moment, considering the question. "While I acknowledge the importance of support technology for heroes," he replied thoughtfully, "my primary focus lies in addressing fundamental challenges facing humanity's future. energy, space exploration, sustainable agriculture. These are the areas where I believe my contributions can have the most significant impact. There are already countless brilliant minds dedicated to the advancement of hero support gear. My team and I are focused on a different horizon. David nodded, understanding dawning in his eyes. A grander vision. I respect that, Midoriya-san. The future needs pioneers like you. Unbeknownst to Izuku and his team, their prominent presence at the I-Island Expo, coupled with the arrival of numerous world leaders, inadvertently thwarted a potential crisis. Wolfram, a power-hungry villain with a grudge against hero society, had planned to take the expo hostage, leveraging the presence of influential figures to further his agenda. However, the unprecedented level of security and the sheer number of high-profile attendees, all drawn by the allure of Izuku's groundbreaking technology, made infiltration and a successful takeover virtually impossible. The intricate security measures, amplified by the presence of so many heads of state, created an environment far too risky for Wolfram to execute his plans. As Izuku continued his conversation with David and Melissa, unaware of the averted danger, he felt a sense of optimism for the future. Surrounded by innovation and the potential for global collaboration, he was eager to see what the I-Island Expo held in store, both for his own scientific pursuits and for the future of humanity. The world was waiting, and Class 1X was ready to meet it head-on. The presence of numerous world leaders on I-Island created an unprecedented buzz. Their initial intentions, veiled in diplomatic pleasantries, were primarily focused on securing access to Izuku and his team's revolutionary fusion technology. The President of the United States, during a private briefing with his advisors, expressed his urgency. This fusion reactor, it's not just about energy independence. It's about the future of our space program, our technological dominance. We need to establish a strong partnership with these young innovators. He instructed his diplomats to arrange a meeting with Izuku at the earliest opportunity, emphasizing a collaborative approach. The Chancellor of Germany echoed similar sentiments, viewing the technology as crucial for their nation's long-term sustainability goals. We must move swiftly and decisively. This is a chance to lead the world in a new industrial revolution, one powered by clean energy. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, ever pragmatic, saw both the economic and strategic advantages. This could reshape global power dynamics. We need to ensure the UK remains at the forefront of this technological shift. However, beneath the veneer of polite diplomacy, darker intentions were brewing. Representatives from Russia and North Korea, while publicly expressing interest in collaboration, harbored more clandestine plans. In a secluded meeting room, the Russian envoy spoke in hushed tones to his counterpart. This boy, Midoriya, his technology is too valuable to be shared freely. We must explore alternative methods of acquisition, perhaps an offer he cannot refuse, or other means. Their intelligence operatives began discreetly gathering information on Izuku and his team's movements and security arrangements. The North Korean delegation was even more direct. This power, it belongs to the state. We will bring this Midoriya and his secrets back to our nation. Prepare a team. We will not be denied. Their intentions were clear: abduction and forced technology transfer. Meanwhile, as Izuku continued his conversation with Melissa and David Shield, the rest of his team explored the I-Island Expo. Shigaraki, surprisingly, found himself drawn to an exhibit on advanced materials science, his decaying touch a morbidly fascinating point of reference. Toga, with careful supervision from Stain, observed a demonstration on bioengineered prosthetics. Her medical curiosity piqued. Dabi, ever the observer, took in the various displays of hero support gear, a critical eye assessing their effectiveness. Compress, with his theatrical flair, was captivated by a holographic entertainment showcase. Twice, still wrestling with his dualities, found a strange fascination with a mirror maze. Spinner, diligently taking notes, found the diverse displays of technology and human ingenuity a rich source of material. Stain, ever watchful of his charges, kept a discreet distance while browsing an exhibit on sustainable agriculture. It was during this exploration that they encountered a group of familiar faces. Class 1A-Uraraka. They had arrived on I-Island with various pro-heroes, chaperoned by Aizawa, who looked as perpetually tired as ever, despite the vibrant surroundings. The sight of Shinso casually strolling alongside Stain, Shigaraki engrossed in a scientific display, and the rest of Izuku's team sparked a mixture of shock and confusion among the 1A students. "Shinso," Kirishima exclaimed, his brow furrowed. "What are you doing with them?" He gestured somewhat awkwardly towards the former villains. Shinso, unfazed, simply shrugged. "They're part of our team now. You know, Class 1X. Team," Mina echoed, her antennae twitching with curiosity. "But they were villains." Toga, overhearing, skipped over with a cheerful wave. "Hi everyone. Isn't I-Island amazing? There are so many interesting things to see." Her seemingly innocent demeanor contrasted sharply with their memories of her past actions. Bakugo, predictably, was the most hostile. "What the hell is Deku doing? Hanging out with these losers?" he snarled, his explosive palms twitching. Shigaraki, looking up from his exhibit, fixed Bakugo with a cool stare. "We are engaged in groundbreaking research that will benefit humanity. What exactly are you contributing, Bakugo?" Before a full-blown confrontation could erupt, Aizawa intervened, his capture weapon snapping out to subtly restrain Bakugo. "Bakugo, behave. Midoriya's team is here as invited guests, just like us." He cast a wary glance at the former villains, a hint of unease in his tired eyes, but refrained from outright hostility. The awkward encounter was further complicated by the arrival of several pro-heroes who were part of I-Island's enhanced security detail, hired due to the influx of world leaders and the potential for villainous activity. Mirko, her sharp ears twitching, spotted Izuku's group and bounded over, a wide grin on her face. "Hey Specs, fancy seeing you here. And who are your interesting-looking friends?" She cast a curious glance at Shigaraki and the others. Ryukyu, in her human form, followed more calmly, her eyes widening slightly at the sight of Stain. "Midoriya-kun, these are your classmates." MT Lady, towering over the group, offered a friendly wave, her gaze lingering a moment longer on Izuku. "Hey there, smart guy. This place is pretty cool, huh?" Midnight, her usual sultry demeanor slightly flustered, approached Izuku with a warm smile. "Midoriya-kun, it's lovely to see you again. I hope you're enjoying the expo." Even Endeavor, his imposing figure drawing attention, observed the group with a calculating gaze. He nodded curtly at Izuku, a flicker of something unreadable in his intense blue eyes. Gang Orca, his deep voice resonating, simply observed the interaction with a stoic expression. The sheer diversity of individuals within Izuku's circle was noteworthy. Izuku, ever the diplomat, smoothly introduced his team members to Class 1A and the pro-heroes, carefully omitting the specifics of their past affiliations, simply referring to them as his research collaborators in Class 1X. The pro-heroes, while sensing an undercurrent of something unusual, maintained a professional courtesy. The encounter left Class 1A with more questions than answers. The sight of their classmate Shinso seemingly integrated with a group that included known villains was deeply unsettling. They exchanged bewildered glances, unsure of what to make of this unexpected alliance. Just as the tension began to ease, a new group arrived at the expo, a delegation of impeccably dressed executives from several major oil and fossil fuel corporations. Their presence was a stark reminder of the economic forces threatened by Izuku's fusion technology. They approached the various world leaders, their expressions a carefully crafted blend of concern and veiled hostility, attempting to subtly undermine the enthusiasm for fusion power and promote their own vested interests. "Mr. President," one CEO began, addressing the U.S. delegation. "While this fusion technology is certainly novel, its long-term viability and scalability remain unproven. Our existing energy infrastructure is robust and reliable." Their attempts to sow doubt and fear, however, fell largely on deaf ears. The world leaders, having witnessed the undeniable demonstration of the fusion reactor, were far more inclined to embrace the future than cling to the past. The I-Island Expo, already a hub of scientific innovation and political intrigue, had just become even more complex, a stage where the future of energy, the dynamics of global power, and the unexpected alliances of a new generation were all colliding. The watchful eyes of heroes, the clandestine plans of rogue nations, and the bewildered gazes of Class 1A all converged on Izuku Midoriya and his team, the unlikely architects of a world on the cusp of profound change. The I-Island Expo ball was a dazzling affair, held in the towering central structure of the island, its panoramic windows offering breathtaking views of the surrounding ocean. The air hummed with a sophisticated energy, a blend of scientific curiosity, political maneuvering, and social mingling. Izuku and his team, having donned the formal attire provided for them, surprisingly tasteful and comfortable, prepared to descend to the ballroom. As they walked towards the elevators, a low murmur of conversation filled the air. Stain, his usually stern demeanor slightly softened, offered Izuku a piece of seasoned advice. "Midoriya," he began, his voice low and serious, "in dealing with these leaders, remember that their primary motivation is self-interest, cloaked in the guise of national benefit. Be wary of those who offer too much too quickly, and those whose eyes linger on your technology with a possessive gleam. Trust your instincts, and don't be afraid to be firm." Spinner, adjusting his tie with an uncharacteristic air of self-consciousness, added, "Yeah, man. We've dealt with sketchy people before. Just watch their hands, you know." Twice, smoothing down his jacket, chimed in, "Be polite, but stand your ground. No, don't be a pushover. They'll try to trick you. You're too smart for them." Toga, her formal dress surprisingly elegant, held a small, decorative clutch. "If anyone gets mean, I can always make them feel better, in my own special way." Dabi placed a cautionary hand on her shoulder, a silent reminder of their agreed-upon restraint. Compress, with a suave smile, adjusted his mask. "Remember, Midoriya, negotiation is an art. Observe, analyze, and control the narrative. We are not merely offering a technology, we are offering a future." Shigaraki, surprisingly comfortable in his formal wear, simply nodded. "They want what we have. Don't let them take it without giving something substantial in return." Shinso, ever observant, scanned their surroundings. "Stay aware of your exits, and trust us to have your back." As the elevator doors opened, they stepped into the opulent ballroom. A kaleidoscope of colors met their eyes: the shimmering gowns of dignitaries, the polished shoes of world leaders, the crisp uniforms of bodyguards. The room was a melting pot of power and intellect, abuzz with conversations in various languages. They spotted Class 1A, looking slightly out of place in their formal attire, clustered near the refreshment tables, their eyes wide with a mixture of awe and apprehension as they took in the scene. Several pro-heroes, including Mirko, Ryukyu, Endeavor, Mount Lady, Midnight, and Gang Orca, were strategically positioned throughout the ballroom, their presence a subtle reminder of the high-level security. Izuku and his team dispersed, each navigating the social landscape in their own way. Izuku, with his earnest demeanor and sharp intellect, soon found himself engaged in conversations with various scientists and researchers, discussing the finer points of fusion energy and its potential applications. He held his own with remarkable poise, his passion for science shining through. Eventually, he found himself face-to-face with the President of the United States. The President, a man with a firm handshake and a keen gaze, expressed his admiration for Izuku's achievement. "Mr. Midoriya," he began, his voice carrying a tone of genuine respect, "what you and your team have accomplished is nothing short of revolutionary. The implications for global energy and the future of scientific progress are immense." "Thank you, Mr. President," Izuku replied, maintaining eye contact. "Our goal is to make this technology accessible and beneficial to all of humanity." "Indeed," the President agreed. "And that is why I am particularly interested in establishing a strong partnership with you and your team. We in the United States recognize the transformative potential of your fusion reactors, and we would like to propose a contract." He outlined a proposal wherein the United States would commit significant financial resources to fund the construction of fusion reactors within their borders. In return for Izuku's expertise and technology, the U.S. government would not only pay a substantial sum, but also provide Izuku and his team with access to state-of-the-art research facilities, advanced materials, and logistical support for their future projects, including their ambitious space exploration initiatives. Furthermore, the United States would be among the first nations to deploy these reactors, ensuring their energy independence and technological leadership. Izuku listened intently, his analytical mind weighing the pros and cons. The resources and support offered by the U.S. government were considerable, and a strong initial partnership could provide a stable foundation for their global endeavors. Mr. President, Izuku said after a moment of thoughtful consideration, your proposal is compelling. We share the vision of a future powered by clean energy and driven by scientific advancement. On behalf of my team, I accept your offer. The president's face broke into a broad smile. Excellent, Mr. Midoriya. I believe this will be a mutually beneficial partnership that will usher in a new era of progress for both our nations and the world. Word of the agreement spread quickly through the ballroom, drawing the attention of other world leaders who eagerly approached Izuku with their own proposals and orders for fusion reactors. The young scientist found himself at the center of a global technological revolution, his quiet confidence and earnest vision inspiring trust and cooperation. However, not all intentions were so benign. As Izuku negotiated with the Prime Minister of Canada, he was approached by the representatives from Russia and North Korea. Their initial polite inquiries had a sharp edge, their smiles not quite reaching their eyes. Mr. Midoriya, the Russian envoy began, his voice smooth but with an underlying firmness. Your talents are exceptional. We believe that your expertise would be best utilized within our nation. We can offer you unparalleled resources and a dedicated team to further your research. The North Korean representative was even more direct. Your technology is of vital strategic importance. We invite you to work exclusively with us, ensuring the security and advancement of our great nation. Their veiled threats were palpable. Izuku remained calm but firm. I appreciate your interest, he replied politely. But my team and I have already established a framework for the global deployment of our technology, prioritizing collaboration and mutual benefit. The Russian envoy's smile tightened. Collaboration is one approach. However, we believe that your unique insights would be best nurtured in a more focused environment. We can ensure your safety and provide you with everything you need. The North Korean representative's tone grew more aggressive. You will work with us. It is in your best interest. We have ways of persuading those who are hesitant. Just as the situation began to escalate, the members of Izuku's team subtly positioned themselves behind him. Spinner and Stain's hands hovered near the hilts of their sheathed swords, their gazes fixed on the Russian and North Korean representatives. Toga's grip tightened on her decorative clutch, her eyes glinting with a dangerous light. Twice and Compress subtly shifted their stances, their hands near concealed weapons. Dabi's left hand was now wreathed in flickering blue flames, a silent warning. The shift in the atmosphere was immediate. The Russian and North Korean representatives, though initially dismissive of the young scientist and his unassuming demeanor, suddenly found themselves facing a united front of individuals with a decidedly unconventional intensity. Adding to the pressure, several of the world leaders who had already pledged their partnership with Izuku and his team also moved to stand protectively nearby. The President of the United States placed a reassuring hand on Izuku's shoulder. The Chancellor of Germany stood resolutely by his side. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom offered a polite but firm, "Is there a problem here, gentlemen?" The representatives from Russia and North Korea, realizing they were outnumbered and outmaneuvered in this public setting, and facing the silent but menacing presence of Izuku's team, decided to back down, for now. "We were merely expressing our keen interest," the Russian envoy said, his tone regaining a semblance of diplomatic politeness, though his eyes held a flicker of resentment. "Indeed," the North Korean representative echoed, his earlier aggression replaced by a forced smile. "We look forward to future discussions." They retreated, their initial attempt at intimidation thwarted. The tense moment was broken by the dramatic entrance of a delegation from several major oil and fossil fuel corporations. Their leader, a man with a smug expression and an air of entitled arrogance, strode into the ballroom, his entourage flanking him. They attempted to address the assembled world leaders, their tone condescending and dismissive of fusion technology. "Esteemed leaders," the CEO began, his voice booming through the room. "Let us not be swayed by the fanciful dreams of youth. Our established energy infrastructure is the bedrock of modern society. This fusion is unproven, expensive, and frankly, a dangerous distraction from reliable sources. His attempts to portray Izuku and his team as naive and their technology as a pipe dream fell flat. The world leaders, having witnessed the undeniable reality of the working fusion reactor and recognizing the long-term benefits, were unimpressed by the outdated arguments of a dying industry. Murmurs of amusement and derision rippled through the ballroom. The CEO's face flushed with anger as he realized his efforts to discredit Izuku were failing spectacularly. He and his delegation were quickly ostracized, their outdated rhetoric a stark contrast to the innovative spirit that filled the I-Island Expo. As the evening progressed, Izuku and his team continued to engage with world leaders, scientists, and innovators, forging partnerships and laying the groundwork for a future powered by clean energy and driven by scientific collaboration. The I-Island Expo ball had become a pivotal moment, a turning point where the promise of a brighter future began to solidify into tangible reality, thanks to the brilliance and unwavering resolve of a quirkless boy and his extraordinary team. So, this was the end of Part 3 of this series. Stay tuned for next part of this series, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.